Okay, without further ado, here's Jack Walsh, the Valley Community Foundation's board chair. Thanks, Jack.
Good evening. As Sharon said, my name is Jack Walsh. I'm the chair for the Valley Community Foundation Board of Directors. And it's my great privilege to start the program tonight. But before I go any further, I'm going to take just a moment to acknowledge the horrible event that took place in Buffalo this weekend. 10 people were senselessly murdered and 3 wounded by an 18-year-old man. They were all African Americans, and by all accounts, the horrible mass murder was a hate crime. Please join me in a moment of silence, remembering the dead and praying for their families. Pray that the racial hate, divisions, and violence our country is grappling with will end someday soon, and that someday we all can live free of fear and hatred. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. As many of you know, like many others in this room, I've been involved with the Valley Community Foundation since before it was founded. I was a member of the original Valley Advisory Committee of the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven when the effort was there to make sure more of that money was coming to the Valley. Some of you also may remember from a brief stint I had at United Way. I think I was there 27 years. And since I see 2 of my former basketball stars at Shelton High School, hopefully some of you may remember that I was the Shelton boys basketball coach for 10 years as well. But I've got to point them out. Paul Vartalis and John Kowalski. You owe me one now. But regarding VCF, I've been on the board of directors since 2016 and chair for the past year. However, my work with VCF really started on that advisory committee way back when. And here we are, all these years later, seeing the dream of Valley-based Community Foundation come true. The Valley Community Foundation has made a lasting positive impact in our region through philanthropy. But philanthropy is just a fancy word that means little or nothing without people behind it, supporting it, nurturing it, promoting it. That's why we're here tonight. We're here to talk about the State of the Valley Community Foundation and the new funds established in 2021. And of course, we're here to talk about the great people connected to those funds. Without them, without you, none of this would be possible. You know, I'm going to take a little privilege here. I'm going to deviate from the script. Since we use the word philanthropy, I want to give you an example of a missed opportunity for philanthropy. How many of you have heard of Joseph Arnold, who I call the $5 million man? I'll bet you there's not a single one in the room. No. Okay. Joseph Arnold was a banker in Birmingham, which some of you know was a borough of Derby. He was a very successful businessman. And in his will, he left a sum of $5,000 to the city of Derby in thanks for all that the city had done for him, much as same motive all of our donors have here. But he put a condition on it. He said, I'm going to give you $5,000, but you can't spend it until it's worth $5 million. Now, that may sound crazy to you, it might sound crazy to me, but he knew his math. He had figured out that it was going to take 125 years for that $5,000 to be put into a trust and eventually be worth $5 million. Now, I happened to discover this. You know, I'm a bit of a historian, and I found an article in the New York Times describing this. So that got me thinking. I said, well, gee, I wonder if it would have been worth $5 million. You know, the city turned it down partly because there was no vehicle for it. He wanted it in a trust that they would manage, and of course, city governments don't always do a good job of managing money. I hate to say that. And they had no mechanism. There was no Valley Community Foundation that could have done this. So I did do the research, and you can go online and you can find all these things that will do the calculations. And this was 2009, 125 years to the year from when they turned them down. You know how much it was worth? Would have been worth? $5 million. So a missed opportunity for philanthropy that we're never going to have to miss again because we've got a community foundation to manage it. So I had to diverge a little bit there. Okay, as chair of the board of directors, I can confidently report to you tonight that the Valley Community Foundation is stronger than ever. It continues to grow financially, and because of its unwavering community support, it's accomplishing the mission to make the Valley a better place to live and work, both now and well into the future. In 2021, VCF received more than $3.7 million in donations and distributed nearly $2 million in grants. Thanks to the skilled financial management by our partners in philanthropy, the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, the Valley Community Foundation has approximately $36 million in assets, more than ever before. Also, through its goal of fostering philanthropy and using data-driven needs-based grant making, it has distributed nearly $800,000 in community investment grants, supporting everything from youth and children's programs, arts and cultural organizations, civic vitality and social justice initiatives, as well as educational and environmental programs. In 2021, VCF's Responsive Grants program supported dozens of Valley nonprofits with nearly $600,000 in current and multi-year funding to help with general operating expenses and fiscal burdens caused by the pandemic. Excuse me. All these accomplishments, all these extraordinary positive outcomes during a world health crisis were only made possible because of the wonderful people that comprise our Valley community. On behalf of the board of directors, the staff, and volunteers at VCF, and all our community partners, thank you so much for your loyalty, your trust, and continued generous support. Thank you. Now, on your way in, you may have seen a poster, and you also have a little poster on your tables. And I just want to point out to all our friends living and working in the Valley, Griffin Health Services and the Naugatuck Valley Health District are developing our next community health improvement plan. As part of this work, it's essential to hear from you and other community members age 18 and older about what matters most to you right now. Data from the Community Health Needs Assessment, our Valley Community Index, which is researched and released every 3 years, is used to identify community needs and priorities, just like the programs and organizations supported by VCF's data-driven grant-making and mission. You may have seen the poster out at reception with a large QR code, but if you look at your table, there's another one with a smaller QR code. And in order to take the survey, all you have to do is pull out your phone. Don't do it now. Take a picture of the code, and it will take you directly to the survey to fill it out. You have plenty of time later to do that. If you're not into technology, I think we have a few people that aren't. We do have paper versions out at the front desk, so please consider taking the survey. It ends June 15th, so you have time. I also want to mention, again, these cards on your tables tonight. For the past 2 years, we couldn't meet in person. So we held online virtual receptions to honor our donors from the 2 previous years. These cards were made to spotlight the funds that were part of our 2019 and 2020 annual reports. Please join me in recognizing and thanking those funders and their families, because I know we see some of them here tonight. Could I ask if you're from 2019, 2020, just stand up for a second so we can applaud you. Okay. I'm looking around to see our elected officials, and we do have some of them here, so I want to acknowledge them. Let me see. I see Carol Rochelle here, who represents the 104th District, Towns of Ansonia and Derby, who also is a graduate of our Youth Leadership Program at United Way. I have to get that in. Carol? Also from the state delegation, I see State Representative Mary Wheelander, who represents the 114th District, Towns of Derby, Orange, and Woodbridge. Mary? I'm looking around, I don't see her, but I believe that Seymour First Selectwoman Anne Marie Dragonis is with us. If she's not, she will be.
Well, she had a conflict.
Okay.
She didn't know she was going to be.
Okay. And I'm looking for my mayor, the mayor of Derby. I don't see him here yet, so I'll introduce him when he gets there, along with Mayor Loretti from Shelton, who are great supporters, great supporters. U.S. Congresswoman Rosa Dore couldn't attend and sends her regrets, but Brian Perkins, a member of the Congresswoman's staff, is here. Brian? All right, now I have to deviate a little bit from our agenda because Will Ginsberg is going to be our main speaker. You're here, all right. I didn't see you. Will got a call that he wasn't going to be here. Okay, so at this time, it is my honor to introduce our first guest speaker.